and welcome to this edition of Critical Mass Business Talk Show. I'm your host, Ric Franzi. It's great to have you with us here today. Maybe you're listening to us live on LinkedIn or YouTube or Facebook, or maybe you picked us up as a podcast. Our guest today is Randa Hoffman. She's the owner of Radiant Wealth Planning, and I'm excited to have her on the show. Randa, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me, Rick. This is really cool. I saw your previous guests, so this is awesome.
They're perfect.
Pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're for those that are listening live. We did two shows today, which is fantastic. You know, I love to start the conversation with entrepreneurs looking at their LinkedIn profile to understand where they were and why they decided to start this journey. So let's start there. Why did you leave Edward Jones to start your own advisory?
Okay, so here's the crazy thing. I'm even a career changer. So I started in IT way at the beginning. And so then I transitioned, to financial services at Edward Jones. And honestly, Rick, listen, Edward Jones for a massive company is amazing. It's really good. But I was really asking myself, what's my legacy? Edward Jones's legacy is going to be fine. It's not going anywhere. They're good. What's Randa's legacy? What's my essence that I want to put out into the world, not just now, but even after I'm gone? It really comes down to, and this is why I left IT, is I don't want to be forgotten. At the end of the day, I don't want to be forgotten. And so I went to go visit a lady. She was, oh, excuse me, I am so sorry. I went to go visit a lady's firm, and she left Edward Jones to start her own firm. And the question was, this is really cool. I really like this. Can I do this? Can I do this? And so, there was this, the little thing in you, that ignites. You're like, oh my God, this is so cool. I'm going to do this. And so off I went. So I started in the beginning, January of last year. I started the business plan and really thinking through it and how I'm going to do it. And here we are. We are.
When you say January of last year, you mean January of 2020?
2020.
Okay, So we think about what the world was like in January of 2020, ladies and gentlemen, and all that we've seen since then. Interesting time to launch a business. Not only did you make that decision, but you decided to start your firm. You also decided to relocate from Washington State to Southern California. So. Yeah. Can you take us through how that worked for you?
Don't do that. Don't ever do that. Don't start a business. And, you and I talked about this, right? But honestly, it's good, but don't start a business based on relationships. A week later, move to a state where you don't have any relationships. I mean, I don't know. I, moved here not knowing anybody in a pandemic where you couldn't build relationships. Don't do that. Only do that if you really want to know what goes in the depth of your subconscious, if you really want to know what your belief systems are, what triggers your fears and how to overcome them. Oh yeah, then that's knock yourself out. Go ahead and do that. But yeah, no, I didn't know anybody here. I just knew I wanted to move here.
And that's one of the powers of being an entrepreneur is you can make those type of decisions because you're in control of your business. What was it or is it about Orange County that attracted you, Randa?
So that's so true because, when you start a business, especially in a pandemic, I'll tell you, Rick, it's like we're all on Zoom. If I started this firm prior to the pandemic, people would be like, where's your office? What do you mean you're on Zoom? Like, what? Are you legit? Now that we're all on Zoom, I was like, I can go anywhere I want. So then I was like, well, where do I really want to go? I've never set roots anywhere. So where do I want to go to set roots? I was like, well, I've always wanted to move to California. Okay, well, California is pretty big, so where in California? Well, I really like Southern California. So, it's all just this discovery. The discovery is really asking myself questions. Okay, well, what about Southern California? I want to be by the water. Okay, well, that's a lot. So then I went from, I want to be between LA and San Diego, not including those two. So the only thing, I've been to San Diego 10 years ago, right? I've never been to Southern California or anywhere around. I was like, well, Huntington Beach, that sounds familiar. So I'll, go visit there and kind of drive along and see apartments along there. Started at Huntington Beach. I'm like, okay, oh, okay. Drove down to to Newport Beach, and oh my God, Rick, my eyeballs were massive. I'm like, what is this?
Right?
I don't know what's going on here, but I love the energy. I'm very, how does the energy of the place, how does it make me feel? I'm like, I really like this. So I found an apartment. 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, I moved, put my 18-year-old cat in the car and off
Mhm.
we went.
So this is a person of action, ladies and gentlemen, and I think that's a important quality for entrepreneurs to be able to
Mm,
make decisions and take action. You opened the door to an interesting conversation, so I'd like to take a couple steps back if I can, Randa. And that is, you've been in business a little over a year. You've been tested in ways that maybe you previously hadn't expected. So I'm just wondering, what is it about being an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, that you've learned about yourself and maybe that you hadn't expected that you would be dealing with as you're planning and growing your business?
Honestly, I did not know the biggest thing that was going to happen is my growth. Because I was like, okay, I'm gonna, and we all think this, even though we know it's not true. I'm gonna put my shingle up and the business is just gonna be flowing and I'm gonna be rolling in the money.
Yeah.
Like, we know that doesn't happen, but there's a disconnect between mentally knowing it and knowing it, you know? So, wow, I have grown so much. It forces you to grow. Not only, yeah, we're in our comfort, out of our comfort zone, and yeah, we're doing something different, and yeah, of course that's going to make you grow, but it brings up so much um voices that I've never realized in my subconscious. Okay, so I'll tell you an example. I was telling my
Please.
friend, this is right at the beginning. I was thinking, oh, I would really like to get two new clients this month. And then all of a sudden, I heard my subconscious say, well, I'm probably not. I haven't
Hmm.
got two clients last month. So what do I think I'm going to get two clients this month? Oh my God. It's like, oh, what is going? Has this been going? And then once you hear it, you're like, oh my God, that's what I said before and before. And I said that. And it's just opens the door to what goes on in your subconscious mind. And, as being spiritual, I believe that that has a lot to do with it.
Hmm.
What's the energy you put out in the world? And look at your life. It correlates to that, believe it or not. So
I do
it's
believe it.
really cool. What it brings up also is fear.
Sure.
Aries, I'm an Aries, so we go on both extreme. We're so courageous. I'm moving to California. I'm starting a business. No big deal. Here we go.
Right.
And the other extreme is fear. Oh my God. What did I do? I'm going to be living under the bridge. It's like, okay,
All
okay,
right.
let's control this. Let's bring it back to reality. So it's good. It's good. I wouldn't have it any other. I wish it was easier,
Hmm.
but the flip side to it, I wouldn't have any other way, because the woman I am today, I just have always envisioned to be this person. And I'm
Mm.
just so grateful for even the hard times. I'm so grateful for this experience. I'm so grateful for it. So it's really
Well,
cool.
we're talking with Randa Hoffman, and thank you for being vulnerable and open.
Yeah.
That's important to me, and I do my direct experience as being an entrepreneur since 2009. I've walked a similar path as you, and uh, the reality of being an entrepreneur is you're always challenged by something. It's the nature of the opportunity, and to hear you say you're blessed by it, or you you're thankful for it. That's a very important thing. You also talked about kind of energy and spiritual and so on. You have what I think is a very specific focus and a niche. And I'd ask you if you could explain your journey to this positioning while you explain what your positioning is in your industry, Randa.
Yeah. Yeah, it is very different. Yeah. So I'm a spiritual financial planner. So I do spiritual financial planning. And how that started, when I was at Edward Jones, if you think Edward Jones, every entity, every entity has its own energy. Okay. So Edward Jones is very masculine energy, has a very masculine energy. So when I left Edward Jones, I'm like, okay, I don't want any of that. And I went to the extreme. I did very feminine energy. And so I started on like, the firm is going to be exclusively for women. I don't want any guys. If anybody comes, I have a bunch of advisors that would be perfect for them. But I still wrapped it around the traditional financial planning. Okay, let's talk about retirement, estate planning, tax services. Let's do the investments, very traditional. I had a mind map, so it was a little different, but the question is still, so what are your goals and what are your dreams? And then I don't know how I stumbled across this. I don't know if intuitively that I had a friend, she's like, I really want to start these two businesses. It's in my head, but I can't put it together. I'm like, well, let's do a little visualization about it. And let's use a mind map, but let's do a visualization. So we did the visualization with her. And what it is, I have her close her eyes and imagine herself as her elder self. Her elder self looks around the room. Who's she with? Is it loud? Is it quiet? And her elder self thinks to herself, that was a really good life. I had a really good life. And then she opens her eyes and she looks at you and she tells you what about this life was so good. Where did she go? Who was she with? What did she accomplish? Right? And then we thank our elder self for following that path. We thank her for sharing it with us. We come back to present moment and we fill out a mind map. And a mind map is really powerful because you see your life and you see your actions and you see your dollars in a very different way. It's not a checklist. It's, oh my God, that's boring. Okay, it's not boring. I wouldn't do it if it was boring, but we put it in a way that, and we break it down in a way that's like, I could do this. I could do this. And the reason I want to visit our elder self is because who are we truly and what were we born to do? I believe every soul has a mission. Okay. My mission is to elevate humanity in any way I can, and so my way is to starting with the financials. If I can elevate humanity through financial planning, I have other visions of what I could do. So it's really tapping into your soul's purpose and what your soul came to do. And let's make sure we do that because that's very important.
So can I ask you a follow-up question to this?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
I have a couple, if you don't mind.
Knock yourself out.
The first one is, when you first started sharing this with people as a differentiation, what was the result of what you were seeing when you felt comfortable enough to share this is your niche and your focus?
So it took me a little while to put it together because I did it with this friend and she's like, this is really good. And I'm like, yeah, that was really good. What is that? I don't know what that was, but that was really good. I surprised myself. That's how it's good. You're like, whoa, where'd that come from? Right?
Okay, right.
And then I did it with a group of ladies. So Lauren Cullen, my dearest friend, and I have a women's group called Women on Fire. And I did it with the group of ladies. And there were ladies that were crying. They were like, oh my God, this is so good. I'm like, oh, when you leave, you're like, oh, your heart's like open and you're like, something big is happening. Something big is happening. And then I did it with another lady and she's like, Randa, I've never told anybody this. And I'm like, that's it. Like, how many evidences do I have to have to prove that I'm onto something? Not only, I got a niche, but yes, this is my heart's calling. Yes. Spirituality, and Rick, this is no surprise. I mean, I said at the beginning of the show, I wanted to start a firm to bring the whole of who I am in this. Well, guess what? The whole of who I am is also my spiritual part. So yes, of course, I'm going to bring everything to the forefront. So once I did that with, that last lady that she's like, I haven't shared this with anybody. I'm like, okay, this is the direction I'm going. I am spiritual financial planner and I do spiritual financial planning. And of course, people are like, what does that mean? Right. And so it's exactly what it is. It's, starting with that visualization, and then I infuse the financial planning in it. And when I embraced my woo woo, and I'm like, okay, here I am, world, let's do this. I had people be like, can we talk? I don't know what it is you have going on here, but I would like to talk. I would like to have a conversation to see what is it. And of course, some people are going to be turned off, but that's like with any business. Not everybody likes Apple, not everybody likes Google, not everybody likes anything, and that's okay. So it's awesome because I am in a phase of attracting and not chasing. I will attract the people that are interested in it. Yeah, repel the people that are not, but hey, that is a-okay.
Right. So uh, you made a point that I'd like to reinforce, which is the opportunity that's presented to an entrepreneur that you don't, in my experience, necessarily get when you're working for a paycheck, which is to construct your business or the business that you do for your whole self. And it is both a blessing and a challenge to really understand that, from my experience, to realize your full potential in the business, you have to be fully in the business and vulnerable and willing to your point, to allow people to tell you, I see the full you, and I'm not interested in doing business, not just with your business, but in a sense with you. That's what I heard you say during that answer, Randa.
Yeah. But honestly, Rick, that's not any different with meeting friends. You go to a social event and some people are like, yeah, I like that Randa, but it's just not my jam, right? And some people are like, oh my God, you're my best friend. That's like in any situation. But it's harder when we're vulnerable, when we bring the whole of who we are. Then it's like, oh my God, are you attacking me? So then it becomes, that's where you need to have self-confidence in yourself. And we talked about this. It's not like, hey, love me, here I am. Whether you like it or hate it, here I am. No, it's not that. It's the confidence in who you are. And it's just, I don't know. It's just, it's soft. It's a soft confidence.
But it's a solid confidence in the sense that
Yes.
you are willing to stay the course and not blink. This is a fascinating conversation. Early stage entrepreneurs, you're raw in a way that is really exciting to me to understand. Kind of they say pivot. A lot of companies, you have to pivot. Well, I think it's evolve. You have to, as an entrepreneur, you're evolving into who you can be, and you will have people in your life that will open doors for you to take you in the direction that you want to go. And I'm wondering, how do you bring in, as an entrepreneur, outside perspectives and ideas that help you to kind of think through, as a solopreneur, the decisions that you need to make to move your business in the direction you want to go?
Yeah, nothing happens on our own. I believe in networking and the power of networking because nothing happens on your own, right? And let me just talk about that pivot for a second. I've pivoted so many times. The firm stayed the firm. Radiant Wealth Planning stayed a financial planning firm, right? But the pivot was exclusively for women. Then I pivoted to, it was wrapped around traditional financial planning. Then I pivoted to, I think I'm going to do stock options, stock compensation, right? Then I pivoted to, then I'm going to, but now you land, right? So those are many pivots within the change. It is so important to wrap yourself around people. And I do miss colleagues. I miss having that, I miss colleagues. That's the thing I miss the most. But
sure,
there are, for example, I'm in five different groups, and one of them is NAFA, National Association of Professional Financial Advisors. So we have an Orange County chapter, and I'm the Orange County leader in that chapter. But it's good because now I'm with amongst my peers that are fee-only financial advisors. So we get a lot of ideas from that, a lot of ideas from, I know a handful of ladies that started the firm at the same time I did. So every month I have a one-on-one with each of them, and they're all so different. One is me and her talk spirituality nonstop. The other one, we bounce ideas like there's no tomorrow. The other one, we love to talk about processes. We're also talking about processes and improvements. So it's good to wrap yourself around different people. And like with Lauren's not in the industry, but oh my God, I always bounce ideas off Lauren. She is my, I call her my soul sister. But it's good to have somebody that you can be 100% open with like
Yes.
that, and that's not in the industry. What if I do this? How does that look on your end? And so it's really important. It's really important to have people around. Otherwise, you're doing it on your own. It's kind of lonely. Kind of
It
get
is.
lonely.
It is
Yeah.
kind of lonely, and it's somewhat constricting too. So you miss maybe opportunities. I see that Leo Botteri said he loves that you're a part of multiple groups, Randa. So
Oh,
thank
thanks,
you.
Leo.
There you go. Thank you, Leo, for
Yeah,
being a part of the conversation today. What's
absolutely.
the future hold for you and your business, Randa? Where are you going?
Okay, Rick, you probably see this amongst entrepreneurs. We are visionaries. Oh my God, we have so many genius ideas. So let me tell you, I have a few genius ideas. I see within 7 years, there's this building here in Newport, and I always, every time I see it, I'm like, this is going to be my building. That's going to be my building. So I see on the building Radiant Wealth Planning in the center, and then on the left I see Radiant Tax Services, and on the right I see Radiant Vibration or Radiant Energy.
Mm.
And within that radiant vibration, radiant energy is going to be sound bowls, right? Sound baths and
Mhm.
Reiki and acupuncture and yoga, anything to elevate our vibration. Because if we want to elevate humanity, we got to elevate our vibration. So in that, I see being on, I would really like to be on a board of a non-public company, whether it's profit or non-profit, doesn't matter as long as it's non-public company. I
Mhm.
see myself being an angel investor because us entrepreneurs, we love the new ideas, and so
Right.
angel investor at some point, and you never know what opportunities come along the way. But yeah, that's what I have on paper, of course, and off paper. I always want to be grounded in my spirituality, grounded in who I am, and just follow my intuition, follow my heart's calling, and just stay the course.
I anticipated a thoughtful and detailed answer based on how you work with your clients, with the visioning and the imagining and the looking to the future. And you clearly painted a very vivid image of the future that you're planning for Radiant Wealth Planning and yourself.
Yeah.
Um, if someone would be interested in reaching out to you and connecting with you, we're here streaming live on LinkedIn today. It's kind of the easiest place to direct them. But where would you say they go to learn more about you?
Oh, I'm so easy to find. You can find me all over the place. I mean, obviously LinkedIn, here we are, right? That's pretty cool. That's an easy one. I'm on Facebook, so the company has a Facebook page. You can go visit there. Instagram at Radiant Randa. Of course, the website. The website is more like a repository if you want to find everything within the website. The services, the costs. You could go to radiantwealthplanning.com. Anywhere.
Well, I want to thank you for not only your time, but also your willingness to share the holistic look at you as an entrepreneur. I think it's very informative for other early stage entrepreneurs, or maybe reminding later stage entrepreneurs what it was like in the early days. So thank you for being a guest on the show. I see that Bernadette Peterson said, I love that Randa incorporates spirituality with financial planning. So there you go. And
Thanks,
another
Bernadette.
person listening. Yes, thank you, Bernadette. And this edition of Critical Mass Business Talk Show is proudly supported by Gottlieb, Rackman, Reisman, PC. We call them GRR, and they provide legal advice and guidance on all aspects of patent, trademark, copyright, unfair competition, all the things that we deal with as entrepreneurs. And if you'd like to learn more, why don't you visit them at grr.com. So for our audience that participated and listened live today, thank you. For those of you that picked us up as a podcast, we appreciate your loyal listening, and hopefully you took some nuggets of ideas away from our guest today, Randa. And I hope all of your business decisions will move your companies in a positive direction.